Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, that's weird. You could hear me before, right?
Yeah, I could hear you before.
That's weird. Yeah, okay, never mind. I'm using it on my phone, so it's like, but I got it. I figured it out.
Yay.
Yay. We're just using audio anyway, so I figure, let's use the better microphone.
Yeah, that's a good call. Um, yeah. How's your week been going?
Good. Well, um, my boss got fired or let go on Monday, and I like my boss, and
Oh,
they're
fun.
doing a whole bunch of like company reorganizing at my boy job. So
Yeah,
yeah,
sucks.
so and it's been like chaotic as fuck, but otherwise it's fine.
Was
How
it
about
like
you?
yeah, it's work.
Yeah,
I'm like trying to recall what happened this week and I really can't tell you much. Which is
yeah,
probably a good thing.
probably a good thing. That mean if nothing sticks out, then nothing was overly.
Yeah. And I definitely could have used like a kinder
Moo with the view. 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 Moo with the view.
Cool.
Cool.
It's like weird for me doing this like without like the crutch of being in drag because now
Yeah.
damn like our voices and our conversation has to be super interesting. We can't just be like
Yeah.
cool.
Whatever. I'm
Yeah.
cool, whatever.
Okay, cool. Well, let's I guess I'll kick it off as the host of the the conversation. It's like weird. I don't know, this is such a weird path. Okay. Anyways, I'll just get going. So hello. Welcome to Moo with the View. I'm Moo, and I am joined today by Miss Whimsy Thrift. And we will just kind of do a little chit-chatting about drag, art, life, and who knows what else. So hello, welcome, Whimsy. Thanks for taking some time to chat with me. And yeah,
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
yeah, here with quotations. Yeah, I'm glad that we were able to like a classic artist, think quick on our feet when things go awry and be able to problem solve. And I'm glad we came up with a good solution. So let's jump on in. I guess let's go to the beginning. How'd you get into drag?
How did I get into drag as in
Like
like
as an art form, not like physically, how do you get it?
physically getting into drag? Okay, cool. I mean, I can answer both.
Yeah.
So how did I get into drag? So I'm a RuPaul baby. Not RuPaul as in more like the show.
Yeah.
Um, in college, I was in college and my friends were watching it, and I never really thought much of it for myself. Um, I apologize if you hear my dog whining in the background.
It's part of the
Um,
conversation.
yeah, he's part of the conversation. He's a whiny baby.
Part of own opinions.
He learns from his mommy. Um, so my college friends were watching it, and I saw Milk, the drag queen, on RuPaul, and that was the first time I ever saw drag as more than just like pretty queens,
Hmm.
and I was like, well, that's something I could do because I saw drag before, and I was like, I like jewels and glitter as much as the next gal, but it traditional drag was not really for me. And then I saw Milk, and that got me inspired. And then I did bedroom drag for probably 8 months or so, and then jumped on the scene when I lived in Toronto, and the rest is history.
So when you first entered the scene as kind of like a non-traditional drag queen, was that like widely accepted and welcomed with open arms?
No, I don't think so. Um, so I didn't really have a drag mom, but I call her a drag aunt, and she kind of got me like my first gig or whatever. But at that point, I had already kind of figured out what I wanted to do with drag, and they were like, "Well, you already kind of have your thing going on, but I can help you get a foot in the door at some of these
Yeah,
venues." So,
show it off.
um, but I was definitely in the more uh, I don't know, hole in the wall joints and the more traditional venues. I didn't really get into that heavily, really at all in Toronto. I did work at them a couple times, mainly because I did pageants there and stuff. But traditional drag is definitely more of a more sought after in Toronto. At least it was 6 years ago. I don't know what it's like today, but
Yeah.
the weirdos definitely have to fight a little bit harder.
So in these like hole in the wall places, do you think obviously, there's different performers happening there, but do you think like the audience and like the way you were able to interact with your audience was different than when were in those kind of more mainstream stages?
um, the way, well, I guess the crowd was always a little bit different. That's for sure. Yeah, and yeah, I think you could probably get away with a lot more
Yeah.
in the hole in the wall places than you could at more of a mainstream place. And it was definitely a lot more fun. Another thing about the mainstream places, at least one place in general, that was a lot different than it is here in the States, was that instead of, here you have two numbers, and and so you would have two kind of thought out whatever numbers. In Toronto, in this one place, you would have three numbers back to back.
Oh my God.
So like three songs back to back, and then you would get off the stage. The other queen would come on and do three songs, and during their three songs, you would change into your next outfit, and then you would do three songs, and you do that three times,
Oh my,
and
you were doing a total of 9 numbers per
nine
night.
songs. Yep.
Oh my God.
It was pretty crazy, and I just thought that was regular.
Yeah. When you come
It
here,
was
you're
not.
like, wow, it's so relaxed. Like,
Yeah, so
very
easy. And
uplifting thinker.
I think but this was more in the mainstream place, and it was more like we were there as an accessory. Whereas in the more hole in the wall places, it was more of the traditional setup, and I didn't realize that when I went to the more mainstream place, and I put my all into the first song, and then I'm like, oh wow, I still have to do two more songs, and I'm sweating my ass off and dying.
Like wheezing by the third one.
Yeah, I was wheezing by the end of the first one. I was like, oh shit, okay, well, I didn't think this very well.
So in those like first kind of like entry months of performing, is that when the character of Miss Whimsy Thrift kind of evolved and got shaped?
Yeah, I mean, um, I think that you a good drag performer is always learning. I'm 8 years in now, and I still feel like the funny thing is 8 years in, I feel like I've still got way more to learn. And when I first started, I thought I was the shit,
Yeah.
um, and didn't I was just like, oh my god, I'm amazing. And
Wow, first performance, I'm a star.
I'm a well, okay, maybe not the first performance, but yes, I thought I was like, oh my gosh, what I do is so iconic. Like, people need to hire me right now.
Yeah,
And now I'm like, okay, well, I could definitely do this better. And like, I'm always critiquing myself.
Hmm.
So
Where
I
do you
guess
think that
modesty comes with time. I don't know.
Yeah, where do you think that came from? Do you think it came from like, being out in the public eye more? You somehow feel more pressure in a way?
Um, I think it's the more I perform, the more I see other performers, the more I'm taking everything in and going, wow, I could do this better and I could do that better. And I think it also just comes with age.
Mm.
Um, the older I get, the more well, the less I like people. And
Yeah.
the more I'm like, I I'm not perfect, and I have lots to learn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, that's it.
Oh, okay, cool, great. So your character, Miss Whimsy Thrift, has like a very like a very clear aesthetic. There's definitely a connection to like thrifting and all of that. And I'm just kind of curious how that, like, what's that mean to you, I guess?
Well, okay. So the thrifting, I've been thrifting my entire life. I was raised on thrift shopping. My mom and I used to thrift shop since I was born.
Yeah.
And so that's where that came from, and it also what I really like about thrifting is I like to show that you can create an amazing outfit and a really cool number and be really intriguing and thoughtful, and you don't need to have a lot of money. What I find uh, is a lot of drag queens think that um, all they need to do is pay someone else. They have a lot of money and they pay someone else, and then they put on clothes and they twirl around.
Yeah.
I think that there's, I guess maybe that's my our artist uh, background in trying to make something out of nothing or out of less. And
Yeah.
I think that there's more of a challenge taking something that isn't something and turning it into something than there is in just buying something.
Yeah. So like with that, I guess like do you feel like like with the craft of drag in a sense is like that construction of creating your look, creating your concept and your garment and like all of that like wrapped up into one? I think I did I ask a question? I think I just stated that. Just summarize
I'm
what
like, what's
I
the
said.
question?
So I guess my question for you is can you show a little of like what your process of your craft for drag is, like from concept to completion?
You want me to show you?
Like with your words. Can you
With okay.
yeah, sorry.
Um, so what usually how I start is I'll buy a garment from the secondhand store. I usually try something that is maybe has a unique shape, but not too much not too much going on, because I also take other objects, craft supplies, recyclables,
You name it,
just
you use
just
it.
anything that kind of sparks something in me, and then I kind of put it together and put it on this outfit. And so where the secondhand store usually comes in is the base outfit. I've tried making outfits and stuff, and I can, and it's fine, but I find that I can get an outfit for $7, and versus going to the fabric store and picking out the fabric and um,
Spending like $45. Yeah.
you spend so much money, and then you make an outfit, and chances are I could find something that'll work at the secondhand store for so much cheaper, and it's better for the environment. Yeah, I'm taking something that would might go into the trash and turning it into something cool. And
Yeah.
there's my whiny dog.
So I guess then like, you have your garment constructed. Is that when you start being like, oh, like this song, matches with this garment, or this show that I would have coming up would like this would work for that?
You know, it there's not one way that it goes with me, because sometimes I'll create an outfit and then I'll go, oh, okay, well then let me find some songs and make a number. My most regular gig is a themed drag brunch every month,
Mm.
and that theme is what I kind of have to go after, right? So then I end up finding stuff that goes with that, and so it can go either way.
Do you find more joy, I guess, working towards a theme, or more joy having like the loose reins and just flying with it?
It depends on the theme. If I like the theme, then I'm super excited about figuring out some sort of outfit. If I don't like the theme, then I'm like, oh my god,
Yeah.
have to figure it out. This month the theme is Mardi Gras, and there's only like 14 songs that are really like Mardi Gras themed, and most of them are not really like drag songs.
Yeah.
So it's definitely been very tricky. But I'm making it work. I'm making it work. I ended up using a Britney song, and I'm rewriting it and re-recording it
Oh,
in my little like recording studio. Um, and yeah, we're making it work. But I think that it's probably not um, one of my favorite themes because it's definitely been a challenge.
yeah. So you said you're re-recording a song. So I think that's a natural segue to talking about some of your live vocal performances and just like where that started, or if that was something that was like always true to you.
Um, I mean I've always been a bit of a singer, and like before drag I was in theater. I was actually at Toronto Film School for their acting program when I started drag. And then I decided that I wanted a job that has sorry, my dogs are being a pain in the ass. Um,
They're just so interested in what you're saying.
I wish. I wish they're chasing the cat. Um, I wanted a job that had more of like a steady income. I knew where I was getting my next paycheck from. So I got a normal 9 to 5 job, and now I do drag is like my hobby. Um, where was I going with that?
I don't know, but I think that I asked you about the origins of your vocal performances.
Oh yeah. So yes, I do have a theater background, and I've always been a bit of a singer. And what I found, especially more recently with drag, is I really like taking songs and rewriting them, kind of in like Weird Al, and then I will record them, and then in the venue I can, depending on the venue, I can choose if I'm going to sing over my own vocals or um or just lip sync, because some venues they're not conducive to mic work,
Yeah,
especially like drag shows. It's very hit or miss. And so my regular monthly show, I do sing over my own vocals, and that way when the mic cuts out,
they're still your vocals. Nice.
vocals there. Yes.
That's
Or
awesome.
if I'm dancing a little too hard and my vocals are not quite there, they're still there. It's a little bit of a cheater thing, but also I'm not lip syncing, so I
Yeah,
guess I'm doing something.
yeah, that's pretty cool. So I guess like that makes you like a versatile queen. Like you got many different like
Wonders.
avenues. Yeah. Is it just lip syncing and singing for you, or do you have like other tricks up your sleeve?
Hmm. Um, it's usually those two. I'm just gonna go into this office here. It's usually lip syncing or singing. I don't really play any instruments. Um, I do comedy every once in a while, but usually it's a lip sync or a singing comedy. So yeah,
Nice. I guess in like your you said 8-year career, right?
yep.
So in that like in that time, have you noticed, I guess one part of my question is like a change in your own performance style, and then like the second part is just like generally in like the drag scene, a change in performance style.
So I've definitely noticed in the 8 years that drag in general has become a lot more versatile. It's more accepting of strange drag, um, especially like Dragula wasn't a thing when I started. And
Yeah.
that definitely opened a lot of doors for spooky queens, and so it definitely has opened up, and I think it was already starting to open up when I started. This probably happened in the last 10-15 years. And then for myself, I think I've cleaned up a little bit more. In terms of my style, I'm more like my looks are completely thought out versus when I first started, I was just like I would throw things together and be
Ooh.
like,
Yeah.
now I take the time and I make a full outfit to completion, head to toe. It's very well thought out. And I guess polish,
Yeah.
you know. I think I would like to think I've gotten better with age.
Good. I mean, I didn't
Like,
know you years ago, but you're great now. So um
I am a fine wine and cheese.
so while we're reflecting on your career, what would you say was like your proudest moment in drag?
Hmm. Well, when I still lived in Toronto, I got to be part of a Pride Toronto campaign, and was up on a billboard in Toronto's version of like Times Square. It's called Dundas Square,
Oh,
and it's
so
Toronto, and it was a big billboard, and that was cool. Um, it was more of like I just happened to be in the right place at the right time, but it was still cool. And then I've gotten to be in some pageants and some competitions, which are definitely good learning experiences. Um, yeah. And then I guess I am in like the house cast of this regular drag show I brought up a bunch of times, which is pretty cool. I've gotten to do that for like 3 years or so, which is, it's an honor to be wanted to come back over and over again.
yeah, that's cool. Congrats.
Thanks.
Do you have any like goals for your drag that you're either currently working on or you have like stored away for the future?
So, my husband and I are actually planning on selling everything and moving onto a boat.
Oh, sick.
Yes, which is like, I don't know, somewhere in between now and 5 years, let's say
Yeah.
2 to 5 years, something like that. Which means Whimsy will have to die. Um,
Oh my God.
because there's no way I can fit that stuff on a boat, all my
Whimsy's
stuff.
gonna drown. She can't swim.
She's gonna be eaten by the sharks.
She's gonna go with the
Uh,
mermaids and just swim off.
yeah, so I'm gonna try and do lots with Whimsy before I have to give up drag, and I will still do makeup on the boat,
Mhm.
because makeup doesn't take up much room.
Yeah. Oh,
But so it'll be more like makeup artist versus drag.
yeah.
Um, which it's you give up one thing and then you get we're excited to go and see the world. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So, um, do I have anything specific? Uh, no. I'm auditioning for certain things, but nothing has come of that yet. So we'll see.
Yeah. Well, I'm putting good energy out there.
Thank you.
So you just like dropped a huge bombshell of the death of Whimsy. Like, wow. So I want to like dive into that. Like,
Sure.
um, so I guess just like what are your like thoughts and feelings on that? Like, do you feel like it's a not necessarily like a death, but more of just like an ending of like a chapter? Like, will it be a celebration when she's done?
Well, I haven't. I've tried not to think too much of it because
Yeah.
yes, it is. It's sad. It's shitty. Um, Out of all the things that I've done in my life, this is the thing that I've stuck with
Mm,
for a long time. Even theater. I don't think I was into theater as long as drag. And so yeah, it's sad. It's sad for me anyway.
that's sad for us
um,
all.
Uh, yeah, so I'm not. It's gonna be hard. It's it's been a fun ride, and I think when it will be time, it'll be time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's always a see you later. Maybe she'll come back. We never
This
know.
is true. This is true. I could come back as an even more aged wine.
Yeah. One that you like put away in a cellar for a few years, then you pull her back out. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a country song. There might be a little dust on the bottle, but don't let it fool you about what's inside. Um, that will be me.
Can't wait. Dusty old Whimsy. Love it.
That's the old whimsy. uh,
So, I guess going back to your current career with it all, like I know you have a few drag children.
I do.
So, what does that mean? Like, when Whimsy no longer exists, like what does that mean for like your kids, your children?
Well, so I have two kids, two drag kids. Europa Sphere. Sorry, they recently changed their name. So I'm still getting used to it. Formerly Carly Marks, and then Charlie Thrift. And Charlie is they kind of started getting into drag, but they are a father, a real father, not a drag father. And their kids are young, and so I don't think they ever really got the chance to blossom the way we had hoped, but then you never know. And
Yeah.
as for my relationship with that, if they ever decide to jump back in and I am off on a boat, then I can still help them, but it will be remote.
Yeah.
And then as for Europa, they're on a bit of a hiatus right now, but they're planning to come back. But they really um, know what they're doing already. They've been around for 4 years or something like that, and
Well, your
you
kids
know
are grown. They're out of the
they're
house.
grown. I'm an empty nester. Like they don't need
They
my
were
help anymore.
retiring, going on your world vacation. I hear you.
Yeah, I really am, Dusty.
So
Yes.
with your drag children, I'm just curious on how just like what that relationship was like when they first started and kind of like what you envision your role as a drag mother.
So, I wanted to have drag kids who had similar aesthetics and um I think that I want to foster an environment where drag is fun and not it doesn't have to be a job if you don't want it to be a job.
Yeah.
I think that sometimes drag gets clouded in how many gigs you get, or how well you do it, or whatever. And I think at the end of the day, drag is supposed to be fun for the people watching it, for the people doing it. Um, that's what it's always been. It's about self-expression. Um, letting something inside you out. You know what I mean? And hello, kitty.
This is the
And
culprit, by the way, that ruined our other footage.
oh, you,
Yeah,
you.
not a good one.
um. So yeah, just as a mom, as a drag mom, I just wanted to foster an environment where, if they need time off, I'm not pressuring them.
Yeah.
If they're if I can, for each kid, it was a little bit different.
Mhm.
One of them was a broke college student, and I could help more so with teaching them makeup, teaching them to sew, and then giving them lots of things.
Yeah.
And then the other one, is a full-grown adult, older than me, and they didn't need money or things, whatever. They more so needed, um, tips and tricks and encouragement. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they both had their own separate evolution.
Yeah. So I guess kind of like wrapping the whole conversation up a little bit, um, when you think about like supporting and celebrating and encouraging younger and emerging drag queens, like give me that like that elevator pitch. Like what does that mean to you?
Well, I think that the drag community is ever expanding, and it's definitely growing into something more than what it was when it started, obviously. And I think that young people should be happy and allowed to celebrate themselves in whatever that means, um, whether that's drag or makeup, wearing fun clothes. I'm sure you know just as well as I do that it's not always easy to express yourself in that way,
Yeah.
especially in certain places and uh, in the world. Um, for myself, I grew up somewhere where it was not very tolerant of that kind of stuff, and then I moved to the city and I got to really explore that, and that's where Whimsy was born. And I really hope that younger people find their own journey where they can learn how to express themselves that way, whether it's through drag or other fun queer things.
Beautifully said. Well, thank you, Whimsy, for taking some time to just kind of share your brain with us and your creative process. And um, I'm excited to see what Whimsy does for the next 2 to 5 years before you disappear on a boat. So,
I'm excited to see that too.
yeah.
Thank you very much for having me and having me as part of this awesome project that you've been putting together for a very long time, and you've put your heart and soul into, and it's awesome seeing it all come to life.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Well, have a good rest of your evening and we'll chat soon.
Cool. Sounds good.
All right. Bye bye.
Bye.